the first speaker. Is that right?
Okay, sounds good.
Is that okay? Okay,
Yes,
wonderful.
absolutely.
Then I will pass it over to you. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for attending today. I am going to go ahead and present a couple of services that we offer here at Mission Hiring Call. But, I also wanted to take the opportunity to introduce a couple of our colleague partners that we make up the Latino Task Force Employment and Economic Committee. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get some slides shared over here, and we go over the information that we have lined up for us. Okay, so introducing the Latino Task Force, for those of you who do not know, just a quick intro of the or expectations of the agenda. Want to go over the Latino Task Force Employment Economic Committee leadership. How did the Latino Task Force start? What is the Latino Task Force Collective? What are the programs that we offered? Upcoming trainings for summer and fall of 2014 or 2024. I wish it was 2014, right? And next steps. So collectively, the Latino Task Force Employment Economic Committee is made up by partners from BACR and Meta and myself. Ruth Barajas is a co-chair, and Ernesto Martinez is our other co-chair. Ruth Barajas is the Director of Workforce of Reentry Programs in the Bay Area Community Centers, or BACR. Ernesto Martinez is the Vice President of Asset Building Programs at Mission Economic Development Agency, or Meta. And of course, I am Omar Del Rio, co-chair of the Employment Economic Committee at the San Francisco Latino Task Force and the General Manager at Mission Hiring Call. The Latino Task Force Employment Economic Committee started in response of the COVID-19 pandemic. So this is early photographs of where we currently offer our services, and we offer our services in 3 different locations across San Francisco right now. And it's more than employment services, so we offer housing services. And in response of the COVID-19 pandemic, if all you remember, a lot of grocery stores shut down, and there wasn't a lot of there was a shelter-in-place order. And so what we did, we organized a lot of the local grocery stores to come and deliver their goods to us directly, and we were able to bundle up this information or bundle up these goods and give them over to the community. And we had to work quick. So if you notice in these photos, they would deliver all the gallons of milk to us, and we didn't have a fridge at the time, and so we had to make sure that we were serving the community as quick as possible so none of these items would perish. In that time, we also had services. So we started a first ever youth-led construction exposure training program for folks to get into construction. And then, of course, collectively throughout the Latino Task Force, we also held infamous job fairs where more than 300 to 450 job seekers came and arrived and received our services through community-based organizations and employers who are hiring with IT numbers and employers who are willing to hire undocumented workers. Most recently, in February of 2024, we had our largest job fair ever in uh, and we saw over 450 job seekers visit our 701 Alabama building. And collectively, we're supporting the vendors who were banned in November of 2023, where we continue to serve the vendors. It is a newly formed vendor association where we saw what they were selling on the streets, and we made sure that their information was available online on the Latino Task Force websites. And of course, just to go over the hubs, where to receive these services, we have 3 locations to offer. And again, all of our services are free. And so this is at the Hut. I just came back here and did a presentation at 150 Executive Park Boulevard, known as the Hut. But we also have other locations at 701 Alabama Street. That's a warehouse that we just saw. But Casa de Apoyo in the Excelsior at 4834 Mission Street is also another location where persons can receive services. All they have to do is fill out this form, and they could receive services in food, WIC, affordable housing, tenant support, health screening, vaccinations, case management for adults, employment services for persons, or employment training, career coaching, family relief, rent relief, SFUSD enrollment, and so on and so forth. First, I want to go over the collective of the BACR programs that we have to offer. This is youth power movement, where we encourage a youth who are entrepreneurs to come on a yearly basis and sell their goods and then present and really get some leadership skills. The San Francisco Latino Task Force, BACR, has a young adult center for persons who are TAY 16 to 24 looking for employment, enrolling in college, or seeking career training. The center provides a range of services, including career coaching, academic support, job readiness training, resume, cover letter assistance, and so on. Through the continuing on supporting youth, we also the BACR hosts a Care Ambassadors program, and this is a program for 16 to 24-year-olds who to get real life experiences, and we get them employed as an internship with community-based organizations for up to a 3-month commitment, 6-month, and up to a year. And this could include public service, child development, education, transportation, distribution, and logistics, healthcare, culinary, arts, and entertainment. And if I am going too fast here, I'll make sure that I'll have this whole presentation available for distribution. So if anybody would like to review the information, going on to our partners with Mission Economic Development Agency, and I do see my colleague Noe on the call, so thank you for being here. Now, Mission Economic Development Agency, or META, they're currently not in the recruitment process, but I did want to share their information with their Mission Techies program, where individuals really get to dissect a computer and figure out what a motherboard is, figure out what a sound card is, figure out how to set up a local area network, and really be able to offer in-person IT services, as well as this program is get individuals to learn database administration, help desk technicians, and provide IT services over the internet or over the phone or remotely, right? Meta also has their mission admin training program. It's a 4-week training program where they're scheduled 2 hours a day, and they get to learn, the basics of Microsoft Office, the Google's G Suite, and become really engage or become a professional in what it means to be an admin, whether it's office administration or in the finance support systems. Finally, with Mission Hiring Call, this is my organization personally. So Mission Hiring Hall started in 1971 as a part of community efforts to address social and economic issues in the mission. What was going on? A lot of construction companies were coming in, and they weren't offering these high paying wage jobs to the local public. So with the support of a lot of community leaders, we would picket in front of these job sites. Most famously right here, right in front of the Transamerica building that was being built in the 70s, we would stand and make sure that we would picket and sign and stand in the way of the 18-wheeler trucks coming in with their shipments and with all the building materials. So we did that enough times to ensure that they were hiring local hires around the community so that everyone can benefit from these high wage positions. In 1990, the South of Market office began, and we provided employment services to all peoples in the South of Market area because we did see a growth in population in that area where it was primarily warehouses in the early parts of the San Francisco 20th century, right? And if you see this photo, this is the oldest church in San Francisco in front of what will become the Yerba Buena Center or Yerba Buena Park. Mission Hiring Hall, both offices connect low and middle income San Francisco residents to local jobs. What is a low income or middle income person? Here in San Francisco, we live in one of the most expensive places to live on the planet. So, if you're looking for employment services, we're here to help you regardless of your income, whether low, high, middle, doesn't matter. We support job seekers, union members, displaced workers, most famously and recently, Local 2 members of all the hotels that shut down in the downtown area. And of course, our offices are in the Soma, so we see a lot of persons from 6th Street and the Tenderloin, and we do not turn away anyone from our services. And so if a person is homeless and they're going through it, we are ready to listen, support, and treat everyone with respect and help them find the services that they need for employment opportunities. Because everybody knows once you find that job, then the next thing is finding a place to live, and then prosperity goes on. We also connect with employers, local employers, and small businesses to make sure that we can hire within our neighborhoods that we serve: construction, hotel, hospitality, retail, security. To receive our services is absolutely easy. The initial intake process takes between 20 and 30 minutes to get seen and served, and then we make an appointment with our counselors. Clients can make an appointment to see a program counselor with either the front desk or just calling. Future appointments are made by advance by phone, email, or in person. Give us a call. We do have a wait list. You will serve you where we can if we are available. If someone doesn't come into their appointment and the counselor is ready to see you, we will see you. But we definitely prefer the appointments. Job counseling services is one-on-one sessions with the program counselor, and then we strive to make a resume apply to at least 3 positions while we're meeting in those first 30 minutes, and then we can make it a follow-up appointment and continue to your application process and employment process. We also help out with we have the trainings that we have to offer are job readiness trainings, and the big ones that we have is City Build Academy. City Build Academy is based in construction. That's the physical portion of construction. CAPSA is construction administration. City Drive is to obtain a Class B permit for employment in the transit industry. And STEP is our hospitality training program for persons who are interested in receiving a guard card. Other supportive services that we prefer or that offer is referral professional trainings and development referrals. And then we have a computer resource center for anybody who needs just to use a computer, type up the resume, or just apply on their own if that's their preference. Our programs include general employment. Of course, so we talked about construction, City Build, and City Build Pro, hospitality, hotels, and restaurants. Now, we haven't seen the hotels industry recovers so much. We are talking to a lot of our members who are part of Local 2 who are not back at 40 hours full time. Many of them have returned to go work at the St. Regis, at the Marriott, and the Hiltons, but not a lot of those bigger companies are hiring on a mass scale. The only thing that we have seen in the hotel industry is over at SFO. SFO, they're always hiring over at the brand new Marriott that was built about a year or two ago. Retail and customer service, downtown is recovering. And then we have a City Drive for persons interested in transportation. Our general employment program provides employment counseling, resume workshops, and direct job referrals. City Build Academy is a pre-apprenticeship training program to better prepare San Francisco residents entering the construction trades. So if you're brand new to construction or you're just thinking about it, we have online orientations that come in. That is step number 1 right over here. You come in, you learn more information, or just stop by our offices and we'll connect with you and give you the basics of what it is to learn and the expectations of working in construction. A lot of folks come into our office and say, hey, how do I get that job that holds that sign and directs traffic outside of a construction industry or construction job site? Unfortunately, that is not a job. It is not. It is only an assignment. It is not a career path. And so we kind of like shut that down, and we definitely lay out the expectations of what it is to work in the construction industry. To get into City Build Academy, all you have to do is attend a 25-hour construction readiness training, and we're consistently hosting those throughout the year. At City Build Academy, you're going to learn hands-on training, carpentry, cement masonry, roofing, welding, drywall, and painting. Right over here, you can see it is a big pile of cement. So the students actually measure and form the concrete there, and then they go ahead and demolish it. So they get both aspects of it, and they lift up the rebar and settle the cement and make sure it's flat or plumb. Other hands-on training through carpentry. This is here on the window, you see welding going on, but we also support with roofing. There's also classroom training. Now, this classroom training is taught by City College professors. So it is at a college level, and it is blueprint reading. You're going to receive your OSHA 10, which is your basic requirement for anyone who's entering the construction trades, and construction math. We offer 2 different levels of construction math: basic construction math and advanced construction math. It is both what we teach is algebra and geometry, but one is at a faster pace than the other. Construction Administrative Professional Services Academy, or City Build Pro, is a training program in partnership with the City College of San Francisco at the Mission office or Mission campus. And it's an 18-week program, so 1 full semester at City College. It's a 100% free training program, and we support you with your books, but unfortunately there aren't any supportive services available to this. But we are teaching your general administration's Microsoft suite, your Google suite, and we are proud to say that we're the first known training program in the United States to offer AI, and we started doing that last year. So we teach you how to utilize AI, not necessarily rely on AI, but I always say expect technology to fail, and you can never know when you're going to get disconnected or your PowerPoint presentation is not going to turn on. We teach you the basics of what to do in case of worst case scenario, but we also teach you how to leverage AI. City Drive 2-week training program. So you just have to attend a in-person orientation, get to learn the facts of what to expect for City Drive. And then we teach this on the weekend. So Saturday and Sunday, 9:30 a.m. to 5 o'clock on Zoom. Do you have to be in front of your computer from 9:30 to 5 o'clock on Zoom and ruin your weekend? No, not necessarily. We meet periodically throughout the weekend. So 9:30 to 10:30. Then we give you independent study. And then we come back at 1 o'clock. You listen to a lecture, some curriculum, independent study, take a quiz, come back at 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Then you get your independent study and you take a quiz. And then the first week is dedicated to general knowledge. The second week is dedicated to air brakes and passenger endorsement. We've been operating this program since 2018, and we have made connections with a lot of major transit agencies across the Bay Area. In the North Bay with Golden Gate Transit, East Bay AC Transit, Peninsula Sam's Trans, South Bay VTA, BART, and of course up here with Muni. And so we do have a very good success rate into placements. On a monthly basis, Mission Hiring Hall hosts a security guard car training program, and this is an 8-hour power to arrest training program. It's an absolutely free training program, but to obtain your guard card, you do need to get your fingerprints scanned or read, as fingerprints scanned, reading, and then that's an $81 fee. Once you obtain your fingerprints scans, you come back to us and we'll help you with the application process to register with the state of California. And that's a $55 fee. So about $136 altogether, but we will help you obtain your guard card. And then finally, what can you expect for us? We will never charge for any of our services. We'll strive to provide high quality services and appropriate job-related referrals. Our services are available to anyone who needs them for as long as they need them. So, okay, so if you find a job and it works out for you, or if you find a job and you hate it, come back to us and we'll help you find another one. What to expect from us? Please keep us informed of your employment status. We're also a nonprofit entity, and in order to stay afloat in this wonderful budget season, we have to show proof that what we do is effective and is, worthwhile for the San Francisco community and beyond. Please be on time to all your appointments. If you're not on time with us, then we are kind of worried that you're not going to show up to your interview on time. So we want to make sure that all of our clients are arriving on time and are ready to go. That way we can make that right referral. And please bring all requested documents and paperwork to your appointments. What kind of documents do we ask? We ask for right to work documents. We want to, just in case someone offers you a position, we want to be able to say, hey, this person's ready to go. Here is their driver's license. Here's their ID or the social security number or their ITIN number. That's all the information they need to get hired. That way, if someone offers you a job, we can turn around and say, here's all their information, and this person can get hired and start getting paid. So the next steps for anyone seeking our services: connect with a program counselor, make an appointment to see a program counselor at Mission Hiring Hall. You can visit us at missionhiringhall.org, and then we'll move forward with your job search. That is, and then I also want to, if I may, and if I still have time, I don't know how much time I took. At Mission Hiring Hall, we publish an open job report on a weekly basis every Monday, and please share this report. We post it on our Instagram and our social medias and our aspects, and it's just a hodgepodge collection of hot jobs that are available to anyone across the Bay Area, so on and so forth. This is a great resources. They can just click on these links where it says apply here and find employment opportunities. And then we also offer vocational training through this publish upcoming events, whether it's a hiring event or there's information sessions for employment, youth training, employment, volunteer opportunities, and finally community updates. So if there's things going around the community that is important for employment services, or just for the children to go to a camp or a summer camp, or businesses to promote a economy, all this information is available in the open job report. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Omar. Does anybody have any questions?
Always. Thank you, Omar. Yeah, very, very comprehensive. I know there are so many great resources and services that you're able to provide. With the focus on our unhoused population, I know you don't turn anyone away, but what are you seeing as the main resources that homeless/unhoused people come to you for?
Well, one thing that we are happy to offer is getting started with an ID. What we've, you never know what When a person is unhoused and they're living on the streets, it's not uncommon for them to lose all their documents and say, I don't know where to start. So the first thing that we do, if that's the case, we get them their resume, and then we get them a DMV form so they can get an ID for free. And then we give them that form, and then we come back and then just start the process there. We also have a low barrier program, most recently in partnership with the DPW, and it's called a pit stop program. And for those of you who know, there are public restrooms across San Francisco. We take care of about 11 of these public restrooms that are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we are hiring, we have about 55 to 63 full-time employees who work that. And that's a 1-year training program. And so for those of you, persons who are transitioning and just need to get back into the game and getting used to clocking in and clocking out, that's a great program. And then once a week, they come back to Mission Hiring Hall and they meet with our senior, one of our senior consultants that really trains them. It's like, okay, now that you're holding on to this job and you're coming in and you're receiving your payroll, what are the next steps? And then, so that's a very popular program that we have.
So they would be hired by DPW, although kind of funneled through Latino Task Force
They're,
through the
they
city?
are, we
Or-
are funded by DPW, and so they're hired by us.
And Omar, I had a quick question
Mhm.
about working with folks who don't have documentation to work in the United States. Do you have a lot of experience with that with Latino Task Force? Is there any pathways, any referrals that we can send for our folks who need a little bit of support in that way?
Absolutely. And I do have to be, frank here. You know, Mission Hiring Hall, for as long as we've been established, yes, we offer all of our services to anything, but we don't work miracles. And every person is a case by case. We, again, never turn anyone away, but we always start with the resumes. We do have relationships with local employers who are willing to hire, but this is not something I can keep documented, because for the very nature of, like, if one employer gets called out and says, hey, I heard that this person is willing to hire so on and so forth, then that could break the relationship we have over here at Mission Hiring Hall. So it's a very sensitive topic, but again, if we find qualified individuals, we have had success in the past with that. But just with that said, I've had conversations with other community-based organizations around this topic, and it is a hot topic. We've been receiving persons from Ukraine, from persons from Haiti who cannot find work, and there are lawyers. There are directors at a school in Colombia, and we don't oversell promises. But we also don't want to be bombarded by everyone else's community center. But we do not turn away from our services, and both Mission Hiring Hall and Latino Task Force.
Thank you. That's good to hear. Now, does anybody else have any last questions? Oh, Alex, go ahead.
I have another question. Yeah, for the computer resources side of things, would they need to be in one of the programs in order to have access to using computers at one of your sites?
No, not at all. They can come in. Our offices are open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And if the computers are available, they're free to use them.
Would they have any support in be able to log on or use the computer at all, or is it really just here's the computer, get on with it?
Some persons come in on a regular basis and they update their stuff. Some persons ask us to say, hey, I have a Zoom interview with this company in this organization. I don't know how to do it. Can I do it here? And we help them out with that. So it's a case by case.
And is that at each of the places, or just at the hut, or
Currently,
which
right
location?
now, the best place to go is our 16th Street location, to 3080 16th. Yes.
Okay.
Do you have questions for the people here and our job seekers or anything like that?
Not so far, but happy to finally get connected, and I'll sit back and learn, and then maybe I'll have some at the end.
Perhaps everyone could put their name and email address, contact info in the chat now that I think most of us are here, and that way we can make sure I send out an email to everybody who's on here. as well, connecting everybody.
Okay, and with that, I think we are ready to move to our second presenter, Chris Waltrus.
Hi, good afternoon, folks. Thank you so much for having me. And not gonna lie, I'm feeling slightly inadequate being second up after Omar. That was a really, really, really robust presentation. Really glad to learn from you and all that Mission Hiring Hall and Latino Task Force, all the great work y'all do. Uh, Folks, I am going to share my PowerPoint. It's going to go to share screen. And my name is Christopher Waltrus. I work for the VA San Francisco healthcare system. I am the Community Employment Services Coordinator out of our 401 3rd Street location, our downtown clinic, which also houses our community resource and referral center. Yeah, a little bit about me. I'm a rehab counselor by certification and mental health counselor by training. I've kind of been working with veterans around their employment goals for the last 10 years specifically, almost 10 years in my current role, and I've been with VA overall for a little bit over 12 and a half, I think, depending on how I do the math. But yeah, thank you guys so much for having me here today. So I wanted to speak, on the topic of supporting the employment goals of tenuously housed persons, specifically the work that happens through our local healthcare system, and in San Francisco specifically, through our what we kind of call our community resource and referral center. So there are CRCs. I want to say there are about 30 around the country, and we're lucky to have one in San Francisco. And the kind of premises to support veterans who experience housing insecurity. So if folks are at risk for losing their housing, if folks experience an episode of homelessness, or if folks have been homeless for quite some time, experience chronic homelessness, to provide a variety of different supports and referrals to community resources that supports kind of the overall wellness of for folks, veterans that experience housing insecurity. So our CRC that is here in the Bay Area, it's at our downtown clinic, which is located at 401 3rd Street in San Francisco. And it includes kind of referrals to community resources to support the continuum of housing. So for folks that's are at risk for eviction, we can refer to eviction prevention programs that are available for veterans locally in the community. For folks that are experiencing episode of homelessness or maybe couch surfing, we can refer folks to emergency shelters or transitional housing, everything that builds up to permanent housing. And for folks that have experienced chronic homelessness, like, and case-by-case basis. I don't want to say it for kind of carte blanche, but we review kind of each veteran and their experience and map them on to kind of the most appropriate kind of housing option that we can provide, or a community provider can provide, to include our HUD BASH program, or permanent supported housing program. So our clinic is open Mondays through Fridays, 8 to 4:30 each day, and veterans can just drop into the clinic for a variety of different concerns. Oftentimes I'll just let folks know if they're working with a veteran and they have questions about housing, they can come to our clinic 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday. Just go up to our front desk as soon as they walk in and say they have questions about housing, and we always have kind of triage social work staff that will meet with folks on demand to answer any questions about housing and referral to resources that exist that are related to housing, that are related to kind of other type of kind of community resources for folks that experience food insecurity, for folks that have questions about veteran benefits specifically, for folks that have questions about different types of income sources to include disability income. They can be referred to a variety of different community resources, some of which we house on site. And some of the other services that we provide at our 401 3rd Street location are shower services, laundry, and kind of on an on-demand basis when we have the supply. We can provide kind of meals for folks. Usually, like we'll have burritos, just kind of on stock. So if folks haven't eaten in a bit, we can kind of have kind of burritos or some other type of food, while folks are kind of following up with different appointments. And we even, on some occasions, will have dog food too, for folks that may be living on the streets with their pets, with their dogs specifically, and, where the dog is also experiencing food insecurity. Sometimes we'll have that supply at our clinic as we can get it, from community partners, for free. And I also forgot to mention that, our clinic, we have our CRC, that's kind of like our bigger operation at our downtown clinic. And we also have primary care services. So we have, I think, like 3 or 4 staff, primary care providers. We have our behavioral health unit is also at our downtown clinic to include psychiatry and individual psychotherapy, substance use groups, and also our voc rehab services, under which I fall, also are located at our 401 3rd Street downtown clinic location. So a little bit more about housing, then I'll switch gears over into employment. For us, they're very much interrelated. So we provide, through our CRC, we provide referrals and case management services, as I mentioned earlier, through the continuum of housing services. So whatever kind of the most acute need is, we'll address that first. So if folks are literally living on the streets and they're amenable to a referral to an emergency shelter, we'll get them connected as soon as possible. We also have a kind of constellation of transitional housing services, some of which we own in VA and others of which we partner and provide grant funds to community providers to provide housing and case management services on a temporary basis through transitional housing programs. There are also grantees that are available in San Francisco through Source to Plowshares and Insight Housing in San Francisco, who will administer funds in order to rapidly rehouse or prevent evictions for veterans who may be at risk for losing their housing due to back rent, or for folks who are looking to move into housing or experiencing homelessness. There are grantees, those 2 that I just mentioned, can help with the funds in order to prevent eviction or re-enter into housing quickly. And we also, for folks particularly that experience chronic homelessness and are experience levels of vulnerability, we offer permanent supportive housing, which is our collaboration between VA, which provides case management services, and housing and urban developments through our public housing authorities that provide equivalent similar to a Section 8 voucher, which kind of covers up to a certain amount of rental portion. And as I mentioned, we also provide a variety of different community, we work with a variety of different community partners, and we also are part of our county's coordinated entry system. The continuum of care programs is one of the other names that they're kind of known by, to identify and to progressively engage veterans. So it's kind of like a community response, community effort to engage homeless folks that experience homelessness, and working with the local homeless services system. And specifically for us, we have folks that, participate in the COCs to be able to engage veterans and kind of encourage entry into and maintenance through our continuum of housing services. So how does employment play into all of this? On a regular basis, so I mentioned I'm an employment services coordinator. I work a lot with community providers. I also work directly with veterans. And one of the biggest things to barriers into the entry into housing, specifically permanent housing, and also maintenance of permanent housing is income. My role is somewhat specific within my department since I employ an employment services model, and it's specifically around kind of maximizing income sources. So, some of our folks might be applying to different disability benefits. Some of our folks might receive disability benefits either through Social Security or through the Veterans Administration. And kind of the main overarching kind of goal of the services that I provide is what's going to give you the most, amount of money in your pocket at the end of the day. For kind of wage related purposes and having the most amount of money at one's disposal to kind of encourage entry into and maintenance of permanent housing, and also all the other kind of benefits that we know employment provides, structure, meaning, even if it is, for some of our folks, work might only be a few hours a week. It could be 2 hours a day, and that's okay. But it's really kind of, picking at all of those quality of life indicators for that, work brings, that folks, many of our folks experienced in the military, and for some of our folks, they hadn't experienced the benefits of work activity since the military. Our primary kind of role and method of engagement is, what's your best next step? How can we kind of engage you in work activity in ways that, take into account preferences for work, folks and differences in people's schedules, due to, for some of our folks that are in transitional housing or in an active job search or active housing search, I apologize, or in an active housing search, and how can we kind of sculpt work in some way, shape, or form that kind of complements kind of all of the other kind of access and referrals to community resources, all the other commitments that are folks that are working on permanent housing, the permanent housing goal. How can we kind of map employment services in a way that's going to complement and benefit the overall life in our veterans? And how do we scale work opportunities, thereafter? So yeah, holistic model, really kind of engage veterans with where they're at and their preferences, and we do have more of an orientation into getting folks into work quickly for the reasons that I mentioned, adding in more structure to increasing income sources, and really trying to kind of work as quickly as possible to maximize the benefits of employment. And the community resources that I mentioned, I mentioned a few of them, but we kind of partner with all that are available in San Francisco, and for me in the healthcare system and working as an agent in the entire healthcare system beyond that. DOL funded agencies, those of our grantees that receive the Homeless Veterinary Integration Program grant through the Department of Labor that specifically works with veterans who are tenuously housed around employment and their employment goals. All OEWD folks, which many of the folks that may attend this are well familiar, and other nonprofit workforce development agencies, in the city. Really, anybody who will join us in our mission to support the experience of our veterans who are in transition, into permanent housing and recovery from homelessness. So I think that's actually all I have for the presentation. The one other thing that I think I wanted to mention was, I think I did mention that I am under Evoke Rehab Services, but I'm different in that way. So the services that I provide is a lot of kind of facilitation and connection to community resources. So the hat that I wear is not that of a program, if one will. It is more kind of connection to providing education about community resources and kind of mapping out what will be the best fit. And checking in with all of my customers that you know, whatever kind of the direction is a good fit and continues to be one where progress is being made towards their goals. And to the benefit of the community providers to which we are referring as well. So that's kind of the main hat that I wear versus some of my other kind of counterparts that work in my department that they're kind of a program in and of themselves.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Check in. Does anybody have any questions for Chris? Anything to add? Any comments, even about, you know, working with unhoused populations or tentatively housed populations?
I think between Chris and Omar, our unhoused participants, whether they're veterans or not, will have access to resources, whether it's, you know, housing, the things to support them while they're doing their job search, housing, using computers, even you know, finding clothing, etc. I think they're covered. And I know there are other organizations as well that work with that population who were not able to present today as well. But I think between the two of you, the big catchment for our population.
Yeah, that's good. Just to piggyback on what you mentioned, Alex. It's you know, I found that in this role, the emphasis really is on kind of community partnerships, since at least kind of from my standpoint, we can't provide a lot or most of the things that it takes in order to have folks successfully transition into permanent employment. You know, as a small example, you know, I just was kind of working with a veteran who started a job a few weeks ago, and he's like, great, I got this job, and I have no idea how I'm going to actually get to the job for the first 30 days, like, because I have no income, and, you know, Muni costs money. Really partnering with kind of different entities that can provide supportive services. In this instance, it was in the form of, you know, the first month's transportation costs. Those are things that my agency, you know, we don't kind of have kind of funds or monies carved out for that. And to include, you know, interview clothing, you know, other work supplies like boots, tools, etc. So, you know, really leaning on kind of all the available services that are embedded into many of the organizations that kind of y'all have. Yeah, it really is can't do the work without the supportive community resource providers. So
yeah, definitely not. There definitely isn't one size fits all, but there's always someone who can do something and knows somebody in a special area. Yeah. And that's part of what the Huddle's here for as well. And then once people are working, well, how they're going to report their income if they're on benefits, are they going to have the confidence even to find work and risk potentially losing some of the benefits? That's a big one. And a little segue into what we're working on for the next Huddle, actually, because that's something that's come up too. Is anyone else finding that's a fear for people? For them
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've dealt with plenty.
Who was that?
Yeah, I think personally I've had with my kind of direct services hat on, I think I've had that conversation twice, maybe 3 times today. Like today, yeah. yeah, it's a regular part of the discussions that I have with folks, and that's why we yeah, really take the kind of approach of income maximization.
Yeah, it's definitely a push and pull conversation,
Mhm.
but it's like, okay, you
Mhm.
got to make a little bit of a sacrifice in the very beginning, but trust me, if you stick with it, it'll be fruitful at the end.
Yeah, and each person's financial circumstances are different, so yeah, definitely kind of respecting the differences in income sources and also kind of expenses and just preferences overall. But yeah, it's definitely a push and pull. That's a really good way to describe it.
Especially in the city, as Omar was saying, it's not the cheapest place to live on the planet. And your income's going to go towards your rent, or your rent, a third of your rent's going to be going, is taken care of, and you've now got a job, then a bigger chunk, you're going to have to pay a bigger chunk of it. There's so many different factors.
And I do want to say, should you have any other questions and want to reach out or have clients that you're working with, don't hesitate to contact me, and we can put you in a different pathway or, best ways to get started and best practices. And thank you again for inviting me and having me here.
Thank you so much for agreeing to
Mhm.
speak, both Omar and Chris. Much appreciated. Welcome.
Okay, so we can begin to wrap up, and I believe so, Alex, we do have a topic for next month. Is that what you were alluding to?
Yeah, I'm working on, let's see, third Thursday be 18th of July, working on, I potentially have someone lined up, so I don't want to spill the beans yet, but yeah, how to figure it out if you're getting benefits, whether it's SSI, SSDI, housing, whatever it is, food stamps, how those are going to be affected by your working, and how to figure out, well, how much can I earn? Comes up time and again. So yes, short answer is that's what I'm working towards. But after July, there'll be August. So we're always looking for new different topics. And we've managed to find one for every month so far, but I'd love it if someone says, yeah, you know what, I really want to talk about this because this is something that I'm seeing. Please don't be shy.
Okay, no, that's very helpful. I'll communicate offline.
Excellent. So with that, any last questions, comments, concerns from the group before I stop recording and dismiss class? Okay.